The Friends of the Smokies organization will start paying the salaries of a handful of national park employees so that some bathrooms in the national park can reopen during the government shutdown.
The organization says that the park asked them to help after some human waste was found outside bathrooms in Newfound Gap and Cades Cove. This comes as the shutdown marks its second week and there's still no end in sight.
10 News reporter Mark Salinger shows us how it is impacting even the most beautiful parts of our area. Mark.
Robin and Daniel, Friends of the Smokies has committed between $15,000 and $18,000 to help pay the salaries of a handful of national park employees. This will keep restrooms open and hopefully the park clean.
One by one, pieces of trash begin to dot the pristine East Tennessee mountains.
We hope that everybody will be respectful of the park.
Each bottle, cup, and wrapper, a sign the government is still closed and people are still coming to the Smokies.
We would hope that everybody would leave no trace.
Park employees out of work because of the shutdown can no longer monitor the hundreds of miles of trails, picking up trash left by visitors. The visitor center and bathrooms are also closed, making for some real problems at Cades Cove and Newfound Gap.
There had been some human degradation at both those locations, and they will be maintained on a daily basis.
Friday, Friends of the Smokies announced they would pay the salaries of a handful of national park employees during the government shutdown, so that restrooms at Newfound Gap and Cades Cove can reopen.
They will clean the restrooms and keep them open and available to park visitors.
Outside the park at the Gatlinburg Visitor Center,
we asked them what places were open that we could go see.
The parking lot is crowded with tourists. One final stop to get maps and run to the restroom before entering a park with no services.
It's a little frustrating because we drove quite a far ways to come here.
Friends of the Smokies says they will fund the salaries of government employees for at least 2 weeks, but are ready to help for longer if the shutdown continues.
It's very important that we are in a position that we can do this kind of thing for the park, and we'll do anything that they ask us to do.
And Friends of the Smokies says dumpsters and trash cans in the park are still being emptied. That's because the park had a pre-existing deal with a contractor before the government shutdown. Robin and Daniel.
A lot of noses thankful for that, Mark. Thanks. The University of Tennessee says